You are live. It's a live stream. It's a live stream. My wife's trying to sit down, but there's stuff in the way in the live stream. Doing the live stream because it's a live stream with a live stream and a live stream because it's a live stream because that's what we're doing. I don't know if I said that. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's a live stream. It's a live stream. Opening up all my tabs because I didn't do it before I started in the live stream. In the live stream, my eyes are dry in the live stream. In the live stream, doing the stuffs and the things and the what's and the whatnots, talking about the stuffs and the what's, about the theisms and the atheisms and the is there a God? Why should I believe in a God? Is a God worth worshiping? All the good questions that they just need to be discussed. Should I believe in a God, and should the God that is believed in be worshipped? Those are two things, and two very, very big questions. And that's how I usually approach this topic. I usually approach it in one of two ways. Is there a God, and should I follow that God? Because I do sometimes get people asking, why you say God in the Bible is a monster, but you don't even believe in him. How he's going to be a monster if you don't believe in him? Voldemort's a monster too, as depicted in the books and movies and stuff. That doesn't mean I believe in Voldemort. So it's like I'm in a separate category here. I'm not talking about his existence right now. I'm talking about whether or not the God depicted in the Bible is good or not. So there's two separate ways I usually discuss this. I don't think I need to open that. In the live stream. And in videos. And the stuffs and the whatnots and the stuffs and the things. Yeah. How was your day, sweetie?
I'm very proud of what I did.
Yeah. What decorations did you set up?
4th of July.
That's what I thought. I figured.
Do you want to see the video I took?
But don't use sound, YouTube might get mad.
No, it's off.
Even though it's our video and it's fine, it's whatever. YouTube will be like, no, I heard the sound of another video in there. It's very good. Yeah. Festive.
Yeah, I did like almost all of that, minus all the stuff that was hanging.
I was about to say, how'd you reach that?
In the ceiling, I couldn't get. The ceiling and what was like up there was Rachel and Edward who did that. But like I literally stood on the countertop to get everything that's on the back wall there. I obviously hung everything up below. I placed everything that's there. I'm very proud of it. And we've gotten a lot of compliments on it today.
I'm good.
And I love it. It makes me happy.
I used my new razor today. Seemed to work pretty well.
Nice.
Always good. That's a weird meow. I don't like that meow.
Which one of you two is it?
Well, are they both alive? I think that's the most important question.
Staring at me right now.
Oh, then they're fine.
There's a bottom of the stairs, Smokey, at the entrance to the basement.
Maybe there's another roach. I tell you,
Why are you with me out like that?
Cece was fussing. And so I went up to her room and was like, what? Like, why aren't you in bed? Why are you fussing? She's like, there's a big bug on the wall. It's like, okay. So, like, there's probably, like, a small spider or something, whatever. No, there's a roach, like, that big. Just on the wall. And she's like, look. I'm like, I see it. And then it flies at us. It starts flying around.
Valid reason to fuss.
So there was a whole thing, and then I lost it for a while, and then it was on her chair up there. I found it sitting there, so I whacked it with the electric bug zapper.
Valid reason to fuss.
Yeah, no, that thing was huge. Like, I'm not the worst when it comes to having to, like, be the dad and kill bugs, but I trembled when that thing flew.
Did you protect her daughter?
I removed her from the room. I'm like, go elsewhere.
Yeah. Should I join again this time and
Maybe you
get
should.
views?
I only have 2 viewers.
And I'm one of them, and you're probably the other. Is it just us?
It probably is, because I am. It's pretty funny.
We're doing it live to ourselves.
I can just... Excellent stream, me. Thanks, me.
It's just us two.
That's okay.
Pretty funny.
I did get a comment. Let's see, where is it? I don't know if I find it. I see your videos from India. Keep it up. I am also atheist. We have to educate people so that they can differentiate between reality and their imagination. Yes, very important.
From India.
And from India. Yes, because I do get some people. Oh, that's right. You moved it. I do get. I looked at the camera. I'm just like, I'm off center. It's because you're.
It's because I'm here.
Because you're here now. I'm squeezing.
I'm sorry.
I sometimes debate on like turning it sideways, but like usually it's just fine like here. And I imagine a lot of people watch on their phones. Hello.
Yeah. Oh, hello, people.
Welcome.
Hello.
So I don't know.
Excellent stream, me. Just realizing you coming.
I typed it. I said it out loud as I was typing
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's his gaming channel. If you want to check that out.
Exquisite.
that first comment is
Exquisite
his gaming channel. It's got some great content. Love it.
Somebody commented.
I'll just go ahead and shamelessly plug in your your other content.
Hey, don't eat that.
Kitty.
Get out of my cabinet. Get out of my cabinet. Get out of my cabinet. Don't bite me. Get out of my
Kitty.
cabinet.
Why do you long to kill yourself? Why do you long for death?
She just wants to die. She wants to eat stuff that she's not supposed to. Someone said.
Promise we feed her.
Someone said your sexuality doesn't need or deserve recognition. It's not about. We're not trying to make any big display with the LGBTQ plus community. We're just kind of being loud and fighting for rights. And other civil rights groups have done the same thing throughout history, and we're doing it, which we've been doing it for a while. That's all it is. It's when I
Stop clawing up my couch.
Smokey. I don't expect you to kneel down and worship the ground that LGBTQ plus people stand on. Just, I don't know, maybe let them exist in public without beating the shit out of them. Maybe let them get married to members of the same sex. Maybe let them have those that gender affirming care. Maybe just let them be themselves and have rights and exist in society without violence. That's really all we ask. You don't. It doesn't need to be anything much more than that. Somebody commented, it's so weird when people comment on old videos. It's like,
Yeah.
Like, where did you find that?
Scrolling through your channel.
How did that pop?
Maybe they actually went to your channel and looked through your content.
Scrolling through my channel.
You're scrolling through your content.
Oh, there's somebody from my last live commented afterwards. This is the person that I had to keep repeating that just because you don't know how something works doesn't mean it has to have been a god.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, if you're confident God isn't real, then explain how something came from nothing, how life came from non-life, how consciousness and morality came from matter. I'll wait. So naturally, I waited 2 days before I
Naturally.
responded. They said they would wait.
They said they'd wait.
And I said, I'm not confident there isn't a God, nor have I claimed to be. Just because you don't understand how something works / happened doesn't mean it has to have been a God. I have done a video on secular morality and regularly discuss it on my live streams, so if you'd like to check out that video or bring it up in a future stream, you may. If you'd like, you can check out the video. And then I said, also, I don't believe something came from nothing, I just don't know where it came from. I'd be happy to discuss that in a future stream as well. Because I don't believe stuff came from nothing. Because nothing doesn't do anything. It doesn't exist. It doesn't, that's not a thing. Now, of course, then we get into very interesting talks about where everything came from. Just got a 4-man kill streak in Battlefield 2. Not bad, not bad. I don't think I've ever played the Battlefield games. I've heard good things about them.
I don't.
Or is it Battlefront?
I had Battlefront in my head.
It might have been Battlefront.
I read that as Battlefront.
I have
you
played.
said Battlefield.
I have
I'm like,
played Star Wars Battlefront. I have played Star Wars Battlefront.
I'm not a gamer, but you know.
The Bible is evidence for God. How can you not believe? Is the Bhagavad Gita evidence for Vishnu? Or the Quran evidence for Allah, which is technically the same God of the Bible? Is the Harry Potter books evidence for Voldemort?
He who shall not be named.
What about all of Greek and Roman mythology is packed with stories about gods doing stuff? But we don't believe that. It's something that's like so obvious, something that we don't believe in these days is Greek and Roman mythology, although some people still do, which is fine. But people don't understand. People once believed as strongly in the Greek and Roman gods as some people do in Christianity today. Like, that was like their culture and religion at the time. That, you know, gods that they prayed to and sacrificed to and whatnot.
I was gonna troll pretending to be a Christian, but I just can't. I feel stupid writing this. LOL, I'm an atheist.
I mean, that's fine. It's a conversation starter.
It is. It really is.
And you fooled me, because I've had a lot of Christians try that.
A lot.
You know, that's just to a lot of Christians, that is, I keep trying to center myself. I keep forgetting.
I'm here.
Sometimes I move in the stream, so I like have to like redo myself, but like I keep forgetting
That I'm here.
It's obviously I don't forget that you're here because you're right here, but like I keep forgetting that you're a factor in the camera.
I'm the reason the camera's moved.
And it's the second time I've done that in like the last 10 minutes. Smokey. Smokey. It's a kitten. The kitten. It's a kitty.
People like kitties.
I usually reply to that argument saying that in that case, Spider-Man comic books are evidence for Spider-Man. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. I just, in my experience, sometimes Christians get upset when you bring up like comic books. It's like, oh, that's obviously a work of fiction. So I go to more things that people take seriously, like other holy books and other religions and cultures or mythologies and whatnot. But yes. And I mean, I did mention Voldemort and Harry Potter. Do you think that everything can arise from nothing? If so, why? No. I don't really believe in nothing. Fine-tuning, we are by not supposed to be here, but by God's will we are. Life is weird, unique, but there's a reason why, because someone greater willed all of us out of love. You have choice, will, out of love, of the greatest being in reality, a being who loves both you infinitely. I'm not really convinced by fine-tuning. I think that we're just a natural product of the universe, and we came about from it, and we came about in the way that we were because that's how the universe worked. And if the universe was different, it's very possible that we either would have been different or would have just not existed. And if the universe had been working different and we had been different, then we would have been having this exact same conversation of like how it's completely perfectly fine-tuned. You know, look at my 4 arms, that's just perfect. And no matter what, I feel like this, unless we just never existed, any intelligent life that would come about, I think would be having the same discussion. It's like we have to be perfectly made and perfectly fine-tuned, no matter how it came about or what variations there were. Also, just because you don't understand how something works does not mean it has to have been a god. I have some family members that are a part of a faith healing cult. Always good. Some are actively falling for the leg growing tricks. It's sad. It's sad that stuff like that still works and still trips people up.
Yeah.
Nothing about what we are is natural. It seems like everything about what we are is natural. Consensus science says the entire universe arose from nothing about 100, I can't read tonight, please forgive me, 14 billion years ago. Why do you disagree with scientific consensus? It's not really scientific consensus that arose from nothing. There's a lot of theories, but last I heard, a lot of scientists, the scientific consensus seems to be, I don't have words tonight, my brain's not braining. Last I checked, the scientific consensus seems to be that the universe was always here in some state, has always existed in some state. Yeah, Zuvra, I was going to bring up the puddle analogy. I just didn't want to explain it, if I'm going to be honest with you. If you'd understand how unlikely the idea is, how unlikely what is. I suggest you try to read the whole Quran if you find it as truth good for you. I've read it twice. No, I've read it once, listened to an audiobook once, and I'm reading it a second time. Although technically I'm not reading the Quran because it's the English version, which isn't the Quran, but I unfortunately don't speak Arabic. I wish I could. That'd be really cool if I could. I would love to read. Cool. I would love to be able to read the Quran. And I have the Quran because the version I'm reading right now has the English and the Arabic side by side. So I do have the Quran, or a version of the Quran that if I could learn how to read Arabic, I could read, and it would be cool, but you know, we're not there yet.
Your thing is so delayed.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
I think last time.
Jesus is still the same. Still dead, yeah. The Bible is good evidence for God, but only because the narrative design is a historical text, not fictional. It's a car alarm. In the case of other religious books, the Bible is far more historically reliable. Not really. Not really. And even if the Bible gets historical stuff right, that is also not evidence for a God. It could just be historical fiction. What do you think the Big Bang Theory is? It's that everything was once nothing, nope, and then exploded into everything, not quite. It's still very much the scientific consensus. So the Big Bang, or the Great Expansion, is the universe expanding out from a singularity. Everything was condensed in and it expanded out. It wasn't the singularity poofed into existence out of nothing and then expanded. It starts with the thing already being there and then expanding out. So there's no nothing, and we don't know where that thing came from, where that condensed ball of universe came from. There's a higher chance of God is real rather than we just happen to be in the universe that is correctly tuned. Again, you're going to the correctly tuned thing. It's the puddle analogy. If there's a pothole in the road and it rains and it fills with water and that water gains sentience, that water might think that I fit this pothole so perfectly. It must have been perfectly designed for me by some great designer, and that therefore everything in my life is always going to be okay. And the sun comes out and starts drying up that puddle, but it's not worried because it can see that this hole was designed perfectly for it because it fits perfectly in it. And it's going to keep shrinking as more of it evaporates, still believing that everything is fine, everything's going to be fine because I'm in a pothole that was perfectly designed for me by some higher being, until it suddenly and surprisingly vanishes. Was the universe created for us, or did we come about as a natural process of the universe and therefore fit into the universe because the universe made us? That's just how it is. Also, if I skip some comments, please forgive me. Chat's kind of moving right now.
Yeah, it is.
I'm Catholic. I bluntly but respectfully recommend studying Catholicism. I used to be an anti-Catholic Christian. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, K through 12th grade. So I've got you know I've learned a couple things in my life about Catholicism. I was Catholic probably the first like 20-ish years, 20 plus years. 20, 22-ish years of my life, somewhere around there. Jesus loves you, Drew, and he's not dead. He is alive. Don't speak of what you don't know. So you know for certain that Jesus is alive and that God is real and all of this stuff. Would you be able to provide undeniable evidence to warrant that belief? Also, again, forgive me if I'm skipping chats. I'm honestly not even seeing all of them because I'm just stuttering around on.
Yeah, I just kind of read through some of them.
Yeah. If I don't respond to one of your comments, feel free to just repost it and I'll hopefully see it again. We just have a good amount of people in here, so sometimes I miss comments, or I spend a long time reading this one and then I get behind on chat and whatever else. I am an atheist. If everything is just the result of unguided chemical and physical processes, then so is your mind, and therefore there is no basis on which to trust any conclusion that you reach. I don't know, the mind seems to kind of work fine and be able to reason its way through reality in a decent, very surface level way. I can tell that I have a mouse in my hand, and based on my experiences and other people's experiences, I can trust my senses enough to believe that this mouse is actually in my hand. So we can rely on it to an extent. Of course, there's the issue of like nothing can be known, and what if everything is bad? What if your consciousness just isn't trustworthy, and the world isn't what it seems? First off, demonstrate that, but also, yeah, that would suck. But our senses, our mind, our reasoning seem to be our best tools at looking at the universe around us, looking at the world around us, and figuring it out. If it turns out they suck, man, that sucks, and we probably have to start from square one again, and that would suck. But so far, it seems like we have some kind of understanding based on our experiences, our senses, our consciousness, all that stuff, and it seems to be working. Do you think that we have free will? The free will question's a really weird one for me, because I'd like to say yes, for obvious reasons, because, it's like, obviously, it would seem that we do. But also, if we are just a bunch of chemical reactions and whatnot, no. If we're just chemicals reacting to stimuli, then probably not. So, I don't know. Free will is a weird one. Taylor is pansexual. So yes would be the short answer. Yes. She is also into women. Start with a simple prayer to God, who may or may not exist, and ask him to reveal the truth. If you do this, I am sure he'll see you. So other people pray to different gods, and have prayed to different gods throughout history, and have believed firmly that they get some kind of response from that god, different gods from what you worship. And there are even people who have prayed to the same god as you and got different answers with stuff. So what's happening? Either something or someone is trolling us, or when people hear that voice of God, it's really just their thoughts. Or when people see that sign from God, it's really just something that they're perceiving as a sign in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's just the brain doing its thing, and maybe it's not any actual deity, any actual God there. So yeah, the looking inward is unreliable, because all these people are doing it to the same God, to different gods, and they're all getting told different things. And it just seems like it's all just in people's heads. It seems like it's kind of an imaginary friend type of situation. So that's why I look for external evidence to verify anything that might be going on inside my head, or might have been going on throughout my life inside my head, or inside my head. If if it's actually a God, it's not necessarily in my head. Something is trolling us. That's for later, though. Start with a sincere attempt to ask God for truth. I mean, I was raised Christian. I was a devout Christian the first 20 plus years of my life. I used to pray to God throughout the day and firmly believed that I got answers from Him. I would pray for Him to guide my path. I wanted every single step I took to align perfectly with His will, or as perfect as I could get. I'm human. And I believed that I got answers and signs and whatever else from God to guide me. So like I was already in that. But now, as I just explained, I don't think that's a reliable path to the truth, just looking inwardly and thinking. So I personally don't think we have free will, not something we could test, but I think if we rewind the clock with the exact same circumstances, I think it would unfold the same way. It's just my illusion, maybe. I'm honestly, a fun fact about me when I'm doing these live streams, I like when I see you guys like adding other people and talking to other people, because I will ignore those comments. It's like, oh, they're not talking to me, because like I'm like drowning sometimes in chat, but I see that it's a comment for someone else. But like, if they're having a conversation, I'm not going to read it. So more often than not, if you start a chat with, at someone else that isn't me, I will probably not read it. On the other hand, if you start a chat with at Drew Skaggs, adding me, I will have a more higher chance of reading it. Fun fact. Don't abuse that power, please. Yahweh. So happy. Someone's very happy about Yahweh. Many people raised Catholic fall away and come back. I have Catholic family but was not baptized. Well, then maybe I'll come back. Who knows? Who really knows? My water's almost empty. My water is empty. Your water's almost empty.
But it's not.
It's cold.
It is cold because I like ice water.
I don't love ice water. It hurts it gives me brain freezes and hurts my teeth. No, not usually brain freezes, but it hurts my teeth, definitely.
Your teeth or your tooth?
Teeth, actually. This whole, front row has gotten sensitive. It's pretty great. She is cute. She is cute. Stay hydrated. I'm trying to. Why would an all-knowing God create a universe in which He knows most will end up in hell? Would you create such a universe for your loved ones? Don't think so. I'm just of the mindset of I have a daughter. I want what's best for my daughter. If my daughter grows up and hates me and wants nothing to do with me, I'm not then going to make it a point to make her suffer for the rest of her life. I'm not going to try to make her life a living hell forever. I want her to be happy and well without me. With or without me. Preferably with me, but if she wants nothing to do with me, then I still want her to be happy. Meanwhile, God, who's supposed to have better love than me, if we don't love Him, we get sent to hell for all of eternity. Which is the default. We were born into this world and we're destined for hell unless we allow ourselves to be saved, or God allows us to be saved, or whatever, unless we're saved by God. Otherwise, we just stay on that conveyor belt. Most people will go to hell and will stay on that conveyor belt because God loves his children so much. All of us, his children that he created. You don't understand, good cannot be recognized without evil. We as humans cannot recognize grace without suffering. And that's fine. But hell, I don't really have an issue with the whole like problem of evil thing. Maybe, because I would understand that an all-knowing, all-loving God knows what he's doing, and maybe there's a reason for the suffering. That's why I say, if I die and I'm faced with the Christian God, or really any God, I would have a lot of questions that would need a lot of good answers before I worship him. Because, yeah, like, how many kids starve to death every single day? We need to talk about that. Like, I'm not bowing until you explain that. All the kids dying of cancer, all the people dying of cancer, you know? It's just, like, we need to talk about that. But maybe he has an explanation, so. You know, his ways are beyond ours or whatever. So I don't usually tend to go towards the problem of evil. But hell is something that I'll kind of stick on. It's like, why? Why, if I don't love you, Dad, will I burn in hell for all of eternity? Why? And why are those the only two options? This is grace. We are on a sinking boat, and it's as simple as just believing in a guy. And there you go, infinite happiness. It's as simple as believing in him. Even if you could demonstrate that Jesus and God, you know, whatever else is all real, that the whole Bible is real, I still wouldn't believe in God. Or I still wouldn't follow God, I'm sorry. Even if I could firmly believe, I still wouldn't follow. So, if it is just believing, then okay, sure, I believe. Fuck you, but I believe. But it is a little bit more to that. It's dedicating your life. It's loving him. It's following him. It's all of that stuff. It's not just believing in him. Satan believes in God, and he's not in heaven. You are attacking a straw man of God. You demonstrate no understanding of God or heaven or hell and reject fake versions. Typical, educate yourself. Okay, educate me. Explain what I got wrong and how I got it wrong. If I'm wrong, I would love to be corrected. I would always love to be corrected. Because otherwise, how am I going to stop being wrong? So, what am I getting wrong? He showed us he loves us. Not really. I mean, dog, there's nothing but blessing. Sorry, I can't read. I mean, dog, there's nothing but blessings you will receive if you follow the word of God. No, bad things still happened to me when I followed the word of God. In fact, I was significantly more unhappy when I followed the Christian God. I was significantly suffering more when I was following him. I'm a lot better off mentally. Bad things have purpose. So bad things will happen. It was a blessing in disguise, I guess is what you're saying. It's not heaven or hell. There is a spectrum of outcome, and hell is locked from the inside. If you're refusing God and God's not forcing you, if you refusing God and him not forcing you otherwise, it's not heaven or hell. There is a spectrum. So what's the spectrum? Spectrum of outcomes, and hell is locked from the inside. So what's the spectrums? Because as far as I understand, at the end of the day, at the end of it all, we're going to end up either in heaven or hell, or some eternal paradise and some eternal suffering. Eternal punishment for a limited amount of sins is totally unjust. For finite humans made to be fallible in a world filled with sin and evil and temptations for us to fall away, if we don't get it right, with all this pressure to not get it right, we go to hell forever. Forever. That's great. That's great. The Lord is near to all who call upon him, to all who call upon him in truth. He fulfills the desires of those who fear. He hears their cry and saves them. Cool story. It doesn't prove it. Because there are a lot of people who cry out to him but still suffer. And if you say that they're still going to get some better afterlife after they die, you got to demonstrate that. Because otherwise, as far as we can actually study and observe, people suffer whether they call out to God or not. So, as far as what we can observe and prove, no, he's not really saving people. Jesus said, in my Father's house there are many rooms. I go to prepare one for you. Spectrum of outcomes. In my Father's house there are many rooms. You said mansions, but I believe the quote is many rooms. In my Father's house, in heaven, there's many rooms. That's what it's supposed to be. That's his Father's house. Jesus is just a prophet. Yeah, according to Islam. Don't click that.
Gotta be careful.
God is not a gotcha merchant. Oops, you did a naughty thing. Eternal punishment. He is love. Then I should have nothing to worry about. I'm a pretty decent human being. At least I try to be. Really do. So maybe I'll be fine. The next book, God said murder was bad. And the next book, after the book where he was committed the genocide. Yeah. God commits and commands a lot of genocides. The beginning of the book of Joshua, for one example, is just awful. It's just the Israelites laying siege to the land of Canaan, to the promised land. Torching some cities, pillaging, murdering men, women, and children, just all out. And then they're fighting with the people in the land of Canaan and surrounding them for the rest of the Old Testament. And I have a hard time feeling bad for them. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's like, Babylon's attacking us. How could they do this? You forgot what you kicked down the door and wiped out like X amount of cities. And just like, excuse me, I'm just going to make my way in here. I own this because my God said so. Yeah. Other nations came and attacked Israel throughout the entire rest of the Old Testament because that's what fucking happens. I have a hard time. True Skags, according to Christians, how is the Bible written if Jesus was not alive? Same way Spider-Man was written if Spider-Man wasn't alive. Or the Quran if there was no Muhammad or Allah. Yeah, you can be a decent human being, but when God legit sends his son to die for you and you sort of reject it, meaning God died for you, shit, man, the least you could do is recognize it. Why should God, for you to say your God comes from, your good comes from your blood, good comes from your own blessings, come from you. First off, give me reason to believe that God is real, and that Jesus was God, and that actually came and sacrificed himself for our sins, and that actually worked and did something. First off. Second, Jesus is God. He is an eternal being, all-powerful, infinite. He came down to earth for about 30-ish years, had a pretty decent time, had a really shitty couple of days, suffered greatly, awful, died. Then he got back up 3 days later, and started walking around like nothing happened, let someone stick their fingers in his wounds like it was a party trick, and then skipped back up to heaven. He's fine. It wasn't a sacrifice. It was just it strikes me more as a big, egotistical, manipulative, like, look at me display. Like, it struck me as like an abusive partner who, you're trying to get away, but then you go into kidney failure, and they donate you a kidney. And then they can hold that over you. You can't leave me. I donated a kidney for you. Look at what I did to you. And that's what I got all throughout my upbringing. I went to Catholic school K through 12th grade. There was a crucifix everywhere. And I had so many teachers saying to me, to other students, to just the whole class in general, look at what he did for you. Look at all he suffered and died, and you're just going to go sin or do this or do that. And yeah, it's manipulation. And Jesus didn't sacrifice shit. He's fine. So people still say it today. They say it all the time. Christ is still alive. Christ is still alive and well. So he's not dead. So he didn't sacrifice himself. You don't connect dots. Didn't King James write a book of the Bible to gain political power? Yeah, the King James Version is not the most reliable and was heavily... I don't know if it was exactly King James. I think it was. Or at least he had a part of it. But the rest of it, yeah, pretty much. It was designed in a way. The strawman version of God is the problem. It's easy to dismiss your false characterizations. So what's the right characterization? I hope you two get well. Just stay humble and be kind. It will come to you. Treating non-belief as if it's some kind of illness or disease. I mean, I don't really have an issue with Zuver. He's talking. He's interacting with people. He's responding to people. I don't know. I'm sorry. He's just kind of in chat. He's not really spamming. He's responding. Dr. Peter Kreeft's book, The God Who Loves You. I don't think I've heard of that one. Where's my phone? I don't need the notebook anymore because I have my phone. I don't need the notebook that I never look at because I'm a bad person. I haven't heard of that book. I have his pocket handbook of Christian apologetics. I have that, and I studied from that when I was in school. Peter Kreeft's book. But I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to look it up. Observing YT, you're also, as far as I can see, engaging in chat. You're okay. This is what it is. When you put something in chat, people are going to respond to it. That's what observing is doing. That's what Zuber is doing. They're responding to things that people are putting in chat and having conversations. That's what we're doing here. That just kind of is what we're doing here. Your disbelief is a product of pride. The pride the society has made you to adopt, believing that you deserve a reason to believe from the Almighty, calling him down to explain himself. And then it cuts you off. I'm not a very prideful person. I don't even know if I would call it humility more so than just self-loathing. I have a very negative perception of myself. Life has really kicked any pride that I could have ever had out of me. So not really a prideful person. And yeah, I think an all-loving, all-knowing, all-good God who wants to have a relationship with us should show up. Damn me for thinking so, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know. Step one to having a relationship is both parties kind of showing up and doing something. That's kind of step one. And not just somebody else coming in and pointing at stuff and saying, oh, the other person that you're in a relationship with, that was what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Why can't they show up and explain that? Why do I need all these middlemen? Why, yes. I have no reason to believe in a God. And that should be step one, is to demonstrate that you exist. Why, though you are a married man with a child and have a job, I am a grown man mid-20s who still lives at home. Hey, there's a lot of people in the mid-20s who still live at home, especially in the U.S. The economy's fucked. Don't feel too bad about it.
See, someone said, is your girlfriend atheist? Not the girlfriend, wife.
Wife.
And, yes.
Yeah, and see, it's not... It's more of a baked in of getting shit on and put down my entire life. So, like, the logic doesn't really come into play, I'll admit. Because, like, I'm doing okay for myself. You know, wife, daughter, house, you know, have a decent paying job. But I still don't have pride. Still kind of shit on myself. It's just one of those things. It's mental health. And mental health over an emotion override logic. Most times, unfortunately. But what can you do? Anyone can ask God our Father for the truth. Anything else is cognitive dissonance. How do you know you're talking to a God and that he's giving you the truth and that it's the right God and it's actually him talking to you? Something in my mouth. If this life doesn't matter, then why does a fairy creature need to micromanage so much of it? So that we can get the good ending. Obviously. Why do I do this? Because I think Christianity is harmful nonsense, and pretty much religion in general. And I speak out against it to help push back against it. Especially in a country like the US, where Christianity is kind of trying to push its way, and Christian nationalism is on the rise, taking away people's rights and just forcing Christian beliefs and values on the general public, including the secular public. It's a good thing to speak out against, I think. God as a trinity specifically is the only possible precondition for logic and the laws of logic. It is kind of complicated if you want me to explain it further. It is a philosophical argument. It's long. You can try. Chat's moving kind of fast, so I can't promise I'll be able to like see and keep up with all of your chats. But why God as a trinity specifically? Why can't any other all-powerful God depicted in any other way do the same thing and come up with logic in the same way? Catholics pray for everyone's souls. Does that mean the Catholic Church is perfect? No. Which I think is what you're trying to say. God is not about ending. It is about the good or bad ending. It's about this life isn't really what matters, and if we follow him, we get the good ending. We get the special after party. We get to be one with him, all of that good stuff. God cannot be understood. Isn't it fitting that he exists as a hard to understand concept? Yeah. It is interesting. Think about all of the cute closeted Catholic guys, Drew. They should come out, you know? Just walk away. Pride comes in many forms. Basically, any time a person has sufficiently incarnal things, food, intellect, money, there will very likely be pride. Pride heavily deludes. Sure, I don't completely disagree with you, but there's a difference in having some of that temporary automatic response pride and just being a prideful person in general. I take pride in not having pride. Not really, but I can see where you're going. Drew, be Muslim. Just not really one for religions, especially the Abrahamic religions. So basically, it's acting to create the world would violate its simplicity as a precondition, and if it did create the world, it would to eternally create the world, which causes eternal matter. when a dyad? The answer to a god such as a monad. The ending is part of your life. That is your burden. The ending is like the main part. It's the eternal bliss. It like there's the 80 years that you get to spend in this little testing facility, and then you get, if you do it right and you pass, you get the special after party for eternity. So the after party, the afterlife, is the big thing, is the big important thing. Why are you still yelling at Zuver? Let's see what Zuber's doing. Zuber is asking valid questions. Zuber's asking valid questions. And giving good responses. I'm sorry. Zuber's not spamming. Personally, I do not fully understand much of God's actions in the Old Testament. However, I believe it is a mystery in the same God, of course. And that's a good way to just kind of stop thinking about it. That's a good kind of thought stopper. It's like, mysterious ways. God's a mystery. His worries are not our own, and we don't really have to think about it. We can just like stop it right there. A dyad is a god that is by instead of try, basically a die would be an eternal world or a double precondition, but it cannot account for the mind being able to comprehend something like the forms. Where do you get that information? Read Genesis, we chose the tree of knowledge. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I love the Genesis story. God creates man and women, Adam and Eve, does not give them the knowledge of good and evil, does not give them that knowledge, puts that knowledge in a fruit and says, don't touch that fruit. And then this all-knowing, all-present God either walks away or sits in the sidelines eating popcorn or turns his back or whatever, stops paying attention, while this great tempter that he also put in the garden with his naive new creation comes and tempts his naive new creation to get them to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And they eat it because they don't have a knowledge of good and evil to determine whether or not what they are doing is wrong. And then now we're all just fucked. Because God set up Adam and Eve for failure, set everything up perfectly to where there's no chance in hell that they could have not eaten that fruit. And now we're all just fucked. So see, if they had faith, they didn't have a knowledge of good and evil. They had no way of understanding whether what they were doing was actually right or wrong. They had no way of knowing. And then the great tempter that God put in the garden with them came and tempted them. I'm willing to sacrifice my personal values to engage in secret relationships with these closeted Catholics. Where is my trophy recognition for the service I am providing? Maybe Satan will have a special trophy for you. If he is real. Do you know the laws of logic, laws of non-contradiction, law of identity, and law of excluded middle? Yes, these laws by nature are objective, universal, and irreversible, so thus non-mind, non-matter. Yes, but they're not like laws that came from a mind or anything necessarily. They're just kind of how the universe works. They're just kind of our understanding of how the universe works. It's like the law of gravity. It's not some law that somebody like came up with. It's us seeing how stuff works and assigning words to it. That was a motorcycle. That might be thunder. Hello, Drew. What can I do at this time? You can just hop in the chat. Warren, did you just switch to French? Impressive. I wish I could speak 2 languages.
Even just looking at it.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Wesley. Santa is actually real, but he stops existing if you don't believe in him. Maybe. I can't stand the French. That's mean. We don't need to bully people like that. Oh, well, then Warren's just going to go ahead and agree with you, so I guess, all right.
Oh, and Warren's French.
I guess I'm not needed. I guess my anti-bullying is not needed. We still don't need to talk shit on French people. But,
Yeah.
but if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, his son, cleanses us from all our sins. Why should that mean anything to me? Stop clicking things. I understand, but would the laws still exist if there was no people? Yes, probably. Because the universe is what, 13.5 billion years old. Earth is like 4 point something billion years old. So there was about like 10 billion years where there were no people, where we didn't exist, and things still operated and happened, and because that's how we got here. So the universe seems to be able to exist just fine without us and operate as it does without us. For example, and if we all disappeared tomorrow, sure, we couldn't confirm it because we wouldn't be here. You know, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's around to hear it, it doesn't make a sound. But it would seem it had to have been doing stuff without us before we got here, because that's how we got here. So it would seem it could probably keep doing stuff without us. For example, math is based off of formal logic, and math is something that is discovered rather than description of there is no... where'd it go? There is no law inside of matter itself. The matter just functions. Yeah, I think laws of logic and stuff is just us trying to understand the world around us. I do not believe the universe is conscious.
Some of people in different languages now.
That's fine. I can't read them.
I wish I could read it.
You know, I wish I could too. My stream is froze.
It's not on my end, so.
Oh, I paused it. I clicked it.
Why'd you do that?
Because I punched the thing and made it do the thing, and it still paused.
No, oh boy.
Refresh the stream.
There you go.
Look at that face.
Hey.
There. Do you think the French are conscious? To my knowledge, they do seem to be conscious. But so that these invariable laws exist and are universal that govern everything. So you agree with realism. I agree with realism. My argument hinges on realism and coherentist epistemology. Coherentist, like coherent epistemology? That might just be a word I'm not familiar with. The universe exists and it operates a certain way, and we try to understand it. Coherentist. Coherentist, yeah, okay. You should react to Christian videos like Realism. It's not really my thing, if I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just kind of not really my thing. I don't, yeah, it's just kind of, I'm not the type of person who's going to come in and tell you about all the dumb things that were said in this Christian video and point all that out. It's not me. I don't really have an issue with people doing that. I watch those videos. They're good. You know, it's great. Gives a good different perspective. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm too cowardly for something like that. I will probably not be live too much longer, by the way.
Oh, it's already almost been an hour.
It's almost been an hour. So the universe existed for billions of years and could not develop a sort of consciousness. doesn't seem to have. It kind of seems that the universe just kind of does stuff and is indifferent to what goes on within it. So it just seems unconscious. Because as soon as we try to attribute some form of consciousness, then we just dip right into the God issue, the pantheism, and we just haven't really found evidence for that. Have I heard of Deconstruction Junction? It is a group of atheist content creators who do the same type of things as you. You should try to join, maybe. I can look at them. I'm not really special enough to be joining groups, but like, they sound interesting. Always interested in finding other creators. Oh. Me and you can think of 1 + 1 and disagree with the answers, but the answer would objectively be 2, since the answer is obvious. The mind, nor can the numbers themselves be measured outside of us creating 1 and 2. They cannot be measured, since matter is just matter. The numbers would be relationships our mind creates. Yes, 1 and 2 and plus and equals are all just languages, words that we have come up with to describe what's going on around us. There is no such thing in the natural world as 2. It's an idea that we came up with. Counting is an idea that we came up with to help organize and understand and explain the universe around us. So that came from the mind. However, there would still be the same amount of objects without us, it would seem. So there could be 2 objects, even if there's nothing there to describe them as 2. There would just be this rock and this rock. And that's it. I mean, there wouldn't even really be that as far as explanation, because there's wouldn't be anyone here to explain that. This is why I bring up the logic of logic, because if you deny their abstract nature or universality, it leads to the impossibility of logic. So that's realism. The universe exists in a set way, and it operates in a set way, and we come up with ways to describe how that works. That's what it is. That's what the laws of logic are. That's what counting is. It is stuff that exists, or us looking at stuff that exists and seeing how things work, and then describing it. That's what it is. So yes, we come up with these ways of essentially translating it and explaining it and chewing it up and processing it. But we are still taking things that exist. We're doing that still with things that exist without us. Do you think circumcision is evil? I am still angry at my parents for doing it to me. I think it's pretty messed up. I'm going to be honest with you. There's obviously been some debate on if it's on health benefits and things like that have kind of been squashed, and a good chunk of the world doesn't get circumcised, and they exist just fine, including countries where they live healthier than the US, where circumcision is normal. So it kind of just seems like a cultural, religiously charged thing that doesn't actually do anything good, and it's just kind of like weird and wrong. So I would disagree with, I would be against circumcision. But objective answers are only known through cross-examination. How can we trust the mind? An external world gap. Do you see what I'm getting at? So we could be wrong about everything. We could be. There are philosophical thoughts of like, what if we're completely misunderstanding the world? Or even, if you go further, what if this isn't the world? What if this is the Matrix, or we're a brain in the vat and the real world is something else? Like, how can we really trust our senses? And that's a great question. And we're never really going to fully be able to 100% trust our senses and 100% trust what we're seeing and how we perceive it and how we understand it or anything like that. But it would seem that our current way of processing and understanding things and describing things and whatnot seems to be working, or at least seems to have built some kind of world of understanding that we can actually do stuff with and keep going with. So we just kind of have gone with it and stuck with it. It could still be that we are completely wrong in our descriptions and that we're just weird and it's all bad, but it seems like it's working, or at least working in a state that we can maintain. It would suck if it turned out that we were just completely wrong and stupid about everything, but I guess it could be possible. But yeah, that would be my answer to that. And then you put something else. Exactly my point. So it leads to other philosophical ideas like idealism or other things like that. So there is no epistemic justification to empiricism or nominalism, true realism. I agree that wrong. I think my answer still covers that. I find it interesting that you ask, why should I, rather than is it true? Are you looking for some sort of benefit? I'm kind of asking both of those questions. Why should I believe that it is true? Is it true, and how do you know? Demonstrate that. You know, give me reasons. Hello, Doom. Popping in at near the end of the live. What is more likely to you, that the universe randomly created itself or that a God created himself? Well, the universe just kind of does seem to do stuff. It's old, it's filled with stuff, and it does a lot of stuff, and seems to be more likely that just through natural processes. We have nothing on a God. I can't even tell you the probability of a God existing or anything like that. It's just this idea that we have that we can't demonstrate. So I would lean more towards natural processes without a God, I think. 500 people saw Jesus independently independently of each other and wrote it down. 500 people wrote down their testimonies. Where are those testimonies, and how do you know that they are actual testimonies? Because even the Gospels aren't believed to be actual eyewitness testimonies of Jesus' life.
Oh, Doom's so sad.
Doom's so sad. Doom, I do have an announcement that might make you happy that I'll do towards the end of the live.
So stay tuned.
So stay tuned. Okay, but how is there nothing and then randomly boom everything? I don't really believe in a concept of nothing, because what is nothing? Nothing can't do anything. Nothing can't have any properties, so something coming from nothing or nothing doing something doesn't seem to be a thing. So I'm not really a nothing. I'm not really a believer of something came from nothing. But whatever the start of it, I don't think it was randomly boom and then everything. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. God exists outside space and time. Therefore, this is why Catholics pray for the dead. Okay? Sorry if I sound pretentious. You're okay. You're okay, math. It's like Mathuel. It kind of sounds like Matthew-well, but maybe with a combined W. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. But you're fine. You're just trying to explain stuff. Sorry if I sound pretentious trying to use philosophical arguments, but basically to finish my statement, you understand human ideas. We cannot know if the world is real or logic is true in this. My statement, you understand human ideas. We cannot know if the world is real and logic is true in this. And then you said one of two, so I'll wait for your next thing.
I love that I write everything down. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna be upset.
What?
Just, I am human. I'm trying to log into my thing.
On your thing? Is that your right email? Are you sure that's the email that you used?
Yes. I wouldn't have used any other one. Yes.
Thus, realism.
Oh, new login detected. That's what it is.
I mean, yeah. I do kind of tend to realism, just what things are and what they seem to be. There was a kitty. There isn't anything that can be known definitively. There's no position, nothing is fixed, no separation. Yeah, I agree, nothing can be known definitively. But we do tend to stick with what seems to work rather than just continuing to wander blind and not know anything. You can't know anything. We just like, all right, well, let's trust our senses here and go with these laws of logic and whatnot. And this seems to work, and let's keep going with it. Also, I am Matthew combined W. That's what I thought. Realism like Platonic realism or divine conceptualism is my point. I don't have any reason to believe that anything divine came about, and I believe that just because we don't understand how something works or how something came about or anything like that does not mean it has to have been a god. That is a God of the gaps fallacy. It has failed us many times in the past. There have been plenty of things throughout human history that we have attributed to something divine. Insect swarms, natural disasters, the changing of seasons, insect swarms, diseases. But now we have better understandings of these things, natural evidence-based explanations that don't require anything supernatural or divine. So that I don't understand it, therefore it must be something supernatural, has demonstrably failed us many times in the past. And it also just kind of doesn't work anyway. It doesn't work, and we've demonstrated that it doesn't work. So things are weird. The universe is weird. The human mind is weird. It's all weird. I don't understand how any of it works, and it's weird. It does not mean it has to have come from a god. There's unfortunately a leap of faith required to hold any belief. We simply have to assume things are true without a true independent justification for that belief. Yeah. Just go to what, such as assuming we exist at all. Yeah. Just go to what seems to work the best and just go with that. We could be completely wrong. We were talking about that earlier in the live. It could be that our senses and everything are just completely wrong and that we've been understanding the world incorrectly this entire time. And that would suck. But, what can you do? Well, Platonic stuff is the first step in my journey. My point later I would get to would be that Platonic ideas cannot account for the gap between minds and forms, and you address your counter. Ideas cannot account for the gap between minds and form to address your counter. Just because we don't understand how something works doesn't mean it has to have been a god. And I hope we keep trying to understand it. I hope everyone keeps putting forth their ideas, both ideas with a god and ideas without a god. And hopefully one of them is right and we can figure it out and get it stapled in and figure stuff out and know stuff. What kind of guys are you attracted to? Guys that I'm attracted to. Same thing with women. Just women that I'm attracted to. I don't know if I have much of a type. If you'd asked a younger me, I might have had a different answer. But I don't know. I've been with Taylor for about 14 years now.
It's been a minute.
So I haven't really been looking for types and stuff, and haven't been paying attention to types or who else I might be attracted to as much. So I've kind of lost that answer over time. So yeah.
Your type is me.
My type is you, honestly. My type these days does seem to just kind of mold around you. The type is Taylor, yeah.
The type is Taylor.
Like, even like when she changes her hairstyle, I'm just like, girls are cute with that hairstyle. It's just, I don't know. My mind knows. My mind knows who to go to. You should read Proclus and Platonius and study Plato, because these kind of illustrate the only possible precondition that is atheistic realism rather than divine conception. I will do that. I really do need to get into philosophy more. So if you have any more recommendations, Matthew, I would take them. Because the philosophical side is not my strong suit. And it's not typically something I care all too much about, but it's something that comes up a lot in atheism versus theism discussions. So whether I like it or not, I need to learn it better and take it more seriously. I am not spiritual in any way, nor do I believe in a soul. Peanut. Peanut.
Hi.
Peanut.
Do you want to say hi to the people?
And get Mama cuddles. I'm sure she would love.
Oh. Come here. Oh. Well, you're moving away from me now. I can't get you. Come
Peanut.
over here. There you go.
Kitten.
Come here. Can you say hi to the people? Say hi.
Peanut's the giant rainbow space kitty in disguise.
Yes, she is.
She pooped us out.
Instant purrs.
David Hume, A Treatise of Human Nature, will shock you. It shocked me because Hume is the first kind of guy to say ideas are just relationships we make up and we live in a purely material world. I'm taking pictures of all your recommendations, Matthew, just so you know. Because I need to be better with the philosophy. Not knowing too much about philosophy is a problem with this discussion. I'll ask this, though. If the God of the Bible is real, would you follow him? No. The cat is beautiful. The cat is beautiful.
That's what you're beautiful.
What is your need in your soul that doesn't exist for you, mind, to believe it can be good, even if not true? I'm sorry, what? What is your need in your soul that doesn't exist for your mind to believe it can be good, even if not true? I'm not sure. I have heard of Pascal's wager. It's a terrible argument. It just kind of is. Hume has fallacies that he acknowledges, like the is-ought gap or the external world problem, which he is comfortable to accept, but show that we know nothing of this kind of thinking is true. Drew, look into non-duality. Tony Parsons, Alexis, non-duality YouTube. Yeah, I am still like actively learning all this stuff with the theism and atheism arguments. So any recommendations I'll take them. I should probably end the live stream soon, though. I should probably end the live stream.
You should probably do that.
It's a little late.
It's a little late.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I do have a little announcement. We've been discussing a Discord server for a while where people in the live stream I can use Discord to verbally speak to people. And we can have verbal conversations rather than everyone being limited to just what the chat allows you to type. We've been talking about that for a while. That Discord is ready, and I will be posting it tomorrow at some point, probably tomorrow morning, because I think it's just ready to go. So probably tomorrow morning at some point. I didn't want to do it yet because I foresee there being issues.
Yeah.
I think I've got it pretty well figured out, and I got some help to get it figured out. But the ultimate test to see if a ship is seaworthy is putting it in the sea and seeing what happens. And I didn't want to be figuring out problems and patching up holes while I was dealing with a live stream or, posting it a couple hours before the live stream and still having to deal with it. So, do it tomorrow. Have a week for everything to go wrong and to figure out how to make it go right. And then I think next week we'll be ready to start using it in live streams where people can actually have conversations. It'll be great. It will be an 18 plus server. Just liability and simplicity and all kinds of other legal stuff. It's just a lot easier in every way if it's just 18 plus. So it will be 18 plus. And Doom, if you, because I believe you are 18 plus, we talked about you possibly being a moderator. If you would like to be a moderator, I would be happy to make you a moderator. Yep, 21. So yeah,
Hey.
if you would be interested in being a moderator, I can make that happen. Just whenever I see you pop into the server, I guess I'll just grace you, bestow you with powers. If that's something you're interested in. And it's not, happy to help, sure. Good. And it's not something like, this isn't like a job. You're not required to be in the Discord server X amount of hours a day. It's like, I'll make you a moderator, and if you never enter the Discord again, sure, whatever. It's just whenever you're there, if you see stuff, you have powers to do stuff about it. And it's just rules about no cursing, slurs, no bullying, be respectful. Obviously, people are going to be having back and forth. It's how I run the live streams and how I run, my channel and comment sections in general. It's obviously we're going to debates. It's stuff might get heated, back and forth, all that stuff, and that's fine. But if someone's just blatantly being disrespectful and an asshole, we can start trying to check them. And if they keep doing it, we can take away their privileges to talk, or whatever else ends up needing to happen. So yeah. And I'm offering Doom a spot as a moderator. I'm not really one to just offer moderator positions to people in chat, even regulars, because I just don't know you guys. But Doom has been around for a while, and he's been very active for a while, and it would really suck if now would be the time where he decides, hey, I'm actually an asshole, and he betrays me. I feel like I can trust Doom, and hopefully I'm right. He's just become the special exception, and he has worked for that special exception spot. So don't expect any other people in chat or anything to get moderator positions. It's not going to happen, most likely. But you're still welcome to come in and talk and whatnot. I'm going to enshrine an evil cult within your server. The virus that grows within.
The cult of the rainbow space cats.
The cult, that's my cult. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I will post the link just on YouTube. I'll just make a post on YouTube. All of you. I'll make a post on YouTube for the Discord link, invite link, and I will also put it in the description on my YouTube channel, which is also where all of my links to my other places, because I post on several different places, and all the links to those are all in my description. So that's what it'll be. That's what it'll be tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. If you're still having conversations with people in chat, please feel free to continue those conversations in the comment section afterwards. I post these lives afterwards, so they'll still be there. So I don't want to interrupt any conversations that you guys might be having, so you can keep having those. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here. It's greatly appreciated. It's always amazing to get any kind of people stopping by for any reason. I'm a random nobody on the internet. I don't have a very big following, so people giving me even a second out of their day is pretty cool. And people sticking around, liking, commenting, engaging in chat, whatever else is exceedingly cool. So thank you for being here. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, whatever it is when you're watching this, and hope to see you again in the future. And sneeze. Sneeze. All right. Bye.